President Ramaphosa, thank you so much for speaking to DW News after the AU-EU summit here in Brussels. Talking about this TRIPS waiver, you have come to Brussels with the intention of persuading the Europeans to change their vision and to release the IP on the intellectual property on vaccines so that they can be produced in Africa. Germany is one of the countries that is most reluctant to do so. How much of your anger towards the Europeans is directed towards Germany? And what does this mean for Africa, that this TRIPS waiver isn't coming into place?
Well, on the TRIPS waiver issue, it's not so much anger that is directed against anyone or in particular Germany. I had a wonderful meeting with the new Chancellor, Mr. Scholz, and we had a good exchange on the issue of the IP waiver, and I explained to him what is driving us to put forward the arguments that we are putting forward. And I said, in our view, when we are in a pandemic like this, what will get us out of the pandemic should be regarded as a public good. It should not be seen as a profiteering type of instrument or product. It should be what should be readily available. And I think that message got through to him. And he started arguing that, even the originators don't necessarily want to make money out of it. I said, well, then we've got two objectives that can be put to good use for us to reach agreement. And obviously, the originators want to do more and more research. And I said there are ways in which we can meet that objective by reaching a consensus on the IP as it stands, so that the countries that are able to utilize that IP, and South Africa being one of them, should be able to utilize the IP to manufacture more and more vaccines. And I did say that we don't want to be receiving crumbs from anybody's table. We don't just want to fill and finish, where we get the drug substance from somewhere, fill it, and then put it on the market. We want to be able to manufacture the drug substance ourselves. And that is where the real heart of the IP argument comes in. And I said, that should be fairly straightforward. And then again, I argued that this is not forever type of provision. We want it for a set period, and so that we're able to get over this vaccine. So I think that message got through, and it is for that reason that it's now been felt that there should be a two-process negotiation at the commissions, and thereafter should then be transposed to the WTO itself, with the active participation of the Director General of the WTO. By the way, Dr. Ngozi, the Director General, is very keen that a solution should be found, that a compromise should be found, because this is the type of pandemic that requires both sides to get together and find agreement.
Now, what happened at the end of this summit is that there's 6 hubs that are going to be created in Africa, one of them in South Africa. It's sort of been accepted but as a positive step. But as you mentioned, this is sort of a fundamental issue between Africa and Europe, this idea of the relationship. And this summit was about trying to change the relationship. Does this issue, to you, highlight the real fundamental problems in the relationship between Africa and Europe?
I would say the reluctance of Europe, for instance, to reach an agreement on the TRIPS waiver is what weakens the relationship. An agreement on the TRIPS waiver would strengthen the relationship, would consolidate it. And I did say as much in the meeting that if we are not able to reach agreement on this, it would be seen that this was a failure. However, a proposal was put on the table to to try and find another avenue of addressing this matter. And I look forward to seeing whether a solution will be found. Because if we're not able to find a solution on this, despite everything else that is being done in the way of making vaccines available to Africa, the hubs that are being set up, it will mean that we have not really been able to find each other on a matter of life and death, a key matter where we should be embracing one another and finding one another. The rest of the other things can happen, but if they find people dead, what is the use of all that? So we need then to do things in tandem and all at the same time, and be able to demonstrate that our partnership, the value of our partnership, is important.
Do you approve of France's withdrawal from Mali, or are you worried that this is going to have a major security effect in Africa?
Well, this has been discussed. It obviously, the withdrawal is going to have a negative effect. But at the same time, France is motivated by a whole range of issues, including, I think, their own domestic issues. So one needs to be considerate of that. But the security issue in the Sahel is a major, major problem. And the assistance and the support of other countries, such as France, has been of great help. And when we come to security matters, there's a need to cooperate.
Thank you so much, President Ramaphosa.
You're welcome.